yesterday. Can you just talk about how the staff building is going?
Yeah, staff's coming together. You know, we were able to retain Coach Antoine Petway, and he's been doing a great job. And you know, out there every day, you know, just trying to recruit and making calls, and you know, he's got a really good pulse on what's happening around the state of Alabama. And he's helped me just with my own transition here. And we hired Coach Bob Simon from Providence. That we're really excited about Bob. You know, he was the second in charge behind Coach Ed Kula at Providence, and he did such a tremendous job with recruiting and you know, talent assessment and helping with the schedule, which is, you know, for us, our schedule is incomplete now, especially our kind of pre-conference schedule. So he's good with details, and he's just a terrific basketball coach. Excuse me, if I can get it out in a lifer. So we're excited about him and his family, Donna, his wife, his daughter Bobby, and his son Devin. So we're happy to get his whole family on board here with the Crimson Tide.
Is that important to get kind of a college lifer, you know, on your first staff here?
Yeah, when Coach Battle and I met and I interviewed for this job, we talked about, you know, how my staff's going to look, and basically Bob fit the criteria of that particular spot on my staff. And hopefully in the next coming days or week, I'll have another announcement for another coach that's going to be the assistant head coach.
But getting Dazon Ingram to commit again, sign again, how big was that last week?
Well, it was big because when he decommitted, then basically, you know, we were competing with every school in the country that wanted him. And the more and more I watched video on him, I was just convinced that we needed to try to get him to recommit. And we spent a lot of time, you know, talking to he and his family. And, you know, the last meeting that we had in Mobile, I really felt good about our chances, not taking anything for granted. But I think we're able to lay out our plan and vision and how he's going to be utilized, what we have available to him as a student, close to home, trying to come and set his own path here at the University of Alabama and not follow in the footsteps of others.
What do you like about his game, and also when you see him more as a shooter?
Yeah, I love people that can pass the ball. You know, your plays work a whole lot better when somebody can pass. You can draw up the cutest play, but if you can't pass, dribble, or shoot, then, you know, and he's pretty good in all of those areas. And his size gives us an opportunity to utilize his skill set in a lot of different ways.
What about making a dent with high school recruiting up here? Some big name talent in Alabama, and obviously Dazon Ingram was big for the program. Just kind of talk about what you've seen in the North Alabama area.
You know, we can't mention any names, but some very talented young players. And, you know, in my press conference, I talked about how important retaining a lot of the quality elite players in the state's going to be for us. And yeah, we love the talent in the state. I think it's very plentiful, and we have our eyes on some guys, and we'll see where it goes. But a lot of the young players that are in the 2016, 2017 class are guys that we have our eyes on that maybe would have told the University of Alabama no years ago. Hopefully they'll tell us maybe, and hopefully some will tell us yes.
How do you go about filling the roster now for next season?
Yeah, we have a pool of guys that we're talking to and hopefully trying to get some on campus before they make their final decision. There have been some kids that have decommitted from other universities, and we have some fifth-year guys we're involved with. So it's just, you know, it seems like a different player comes on the board daily. So we're consistently watching video. Fortunately, I know quite a few of those guys because of my time in the media. And, you know, I'll probably watch more college games last year than I ever had in the previous 5-10 years. So I know a lot of those kids. So we're getting information and calling around, interviewing coaches that have coached against those players, and you know, relying on some of my old media folks that have covered a lot of their teams to give me some insight on it. So whatever resource we can use to help us improve our recruiting and adding players to help the depth of our roster. That's what we're going to do.
How
Coach,
fast?
did you know Lou Deneen at all?
Excuse me?
Did you know Lou Deneen before you came to Tuscaloosa
No, I
at
didn't
all?
know him at all.
The decision to retain him based on what you've seen since you've been there?
Yeah, I didn't know him at all, but again, a lot of his contemporaries from at other schools, obviously I called a guy at A&M who knows him, well, and was able to talk to him about him and use that as a resource, and just called around, and then I had a chance to interview him myself, had a chance to see him at work with our players, and I thought, his energy level, his intellect, and him being open to change about some of the new ideas that I'm bringing to the table, he was very receptive to it. So it made all the sense in the world to retain.
Has there been any part of this your first couple weeks here that's in college that surprised you, or maybe didn't quite expect, or any kind of challenges that you've kind of opened your eyes a little bit?
Yes. Yeah, we can't get into it. I just think for us, for this situation, coming from the NBA level, internally, we got a lot of work to do in changing the mindset and habits and staff, and we have to improve on our staffing. There are areas where we've been a little understaffed, and so we have a lot of work to do internally before we can be the external product publicly that I want us to become.
Coach, do you have a relationship with Bruce Pearl, and if so, how has that changed at all since you've been hired?
Well, I don't have a relationship with Bruce, but I ran into him on a recruiting trail and in New Orleans, and yeah, we had a chance to spend a few minutes together talking about both of our programs, and hopefully they'll become programs that the state of Alabama can really be proud of, and hopefully we're going to be battling a lot for a lot of the same players, and it's just a matter of which ones we can get to the finish line quicker than Auburn, and not only Auburn, but a lot of the other programs that have been getting players from this state and all over the country for years.
Any trash talk between you two when you meet on the
We had we had a little fun. Yeah. We have some ideas how to even improve this our rivalry. So that was a discussion. We'll probably have part 2 of that discussion in Lexington this week.
I was going to ask, you got these kind of barnstorming things. You're competing with Bruce for essentially the state of basketball in the state. So I guess what's that like?
I would say more than trying to compete with Bruce in this situation, this trip is about partnering with Coach Saban and, talking to him about how we want to improve the basketball product on and off the floor, and continue to grow a relationship with a coach that I've been a fan of for a long time, and, riding in the car with him, talking about coaching situations and leadership tactics and management styles, and trying to get the best out of players and high basketball IQ, players making split-second decisions that could be critical to the success of the team. So I think this trip is more about partnering with Coach Saban, and that's why I'm so excited about this caravan.
Any new-time basketball yet?
We talked about that. That question came up at our first stop. He still insists that I am not going to be the point guard. I've always wanted to be a 2. As long as I can shoot the 3, and at this age, I think I'll be a pretty good set 3-point shooter. But he's going to have to draw double teams, okay? I want to see how good he is at the pick and roll game and drawing double teams. And then we'll decide for sure if I'm going to be a full-time 2 guard or not. But he's the commissioner of the league. All right?